very excited because we, we keep talking about AI and automation and the future of work. And this is an opportunity for us to gather and learn from our distinguished guests that we have here at the session today. There's a whole lot of conversation around AI and automation, talking about how AI is coming to take our jobs and automate our tasks. But one beautiful thing is that AI cannot take away curiosity. AI cannot take away our uh, capacity to adapt and our capacity to learn, which we are here to do today, to have amazing conversations. And I am looking forward to how today is going to be very insightful, very productive, and how we are going to leave here with amazing insights that will help us in preparing and being armed for the future of work, which is actually today. So welcome everyone once again. Have an amazing time. Please keep it as engaging as possible. Let's have your questions. Let's have reactions, and let's have an amazing, amazing time. Thank you so much. Chimaya.
Thank you. Thank you, Vivian. Thank you, Mr. Konabo, for that inspiring question. So I want to give you all a preview of Kimberly Ryan, what we're about. So as you can see on my screen, we are focused on delivering results that matter, and we offer a comprehensive bouquet of services that support our clients in delivering their business goals and achieving optimal people performance. We are a leading and trusted human capital, and we've been in business for over 28 years. So these are our services. We have our outsourcing services, learning and development, recruitment and talent selection, and also HR advisory. So without further ado, it's my honor to introduce our keynote speaker. So you can also, sorry to digress, you can contact us at info@kimberly-ryan.net. This is our location, this is our phone number. We'll come back to that. So back to introducing our keynote speaker. Our topic is building career resilience in the era of AI and automation. So I have given a rundown of that. So our keynote speaker is the person of Mr. Adewale Smart Oyerinde. He has played an important role in shaping conversations around employment, workforce development, and employer advocacy in Nigeria. He is currently the Director General and Chief Executive of NECA and a leading voice in employer advocacy, like I said earlier. And his perspectives on the future of work are always insightful and highly relevant. Please join us in welcoming him, although he's going to be ably represented by Miss Isabella Hussein. She's the Assistant Director, Learning and Development Projects, Nigeria Employers Consultative Association, NECA. So please join me in welcoming her. Miss Isabella, we are honored to have you with us. Over to you, please.
Thank you so much. Good morning, everyone. And once again, on behalf of the DG, the Director General of NECA, I would like to say a very big thank you for having us, this morning to be part of this very, very important conversation that is actually affecting work. And I'm personally, I'm deeply honored to be able to be giving this this keynote presentation on his behalf. He would have loved to be here, but work exigencies. Please, I just want to confirm you can hear me.
Yes, we can.
Okay, great.
Yes,
thank you so much. All right, thank you so much. Thank you. So it's actually been a marathon at the Secretariat. So however, I'm working from home, so please permit any noise that you may hear today. So I'll just be sharing my screen now so that we can get into the meat of today's conversation and also keep to time. Please let me know if you can see my screen. Please, can you see my screen?
Yes, I can see you, sir. I can see
Yes,
you.
I can. Yes.
Okay. All right, great. Okay. I think I do have a few colleagues on the call as well. So just All right. So the conversation before us this morning is building career resilience in the era of AI and automation. And just to welcome everybody once again, we know that AI is a very important conversation. Artificial intelligence has moved, beyond beyond the kind of technology we know. And I think the difference has been how fast paced it has been. So it is now the business of everybody, whether as an individual, whether as a business, it is very important that everyone is on that conversation. So it's become a business reality, it's become a workforce issue, and it is also increasingly becoming a competitiveness issue, right? Whether as an individual or as a business. I do believe that we have like mixed audience on the call today. So in one way or the other, I'll be speaking to each and everyone. And I believe at the end, we could take questions just so that I could keep this presentation timely. So I think the big question now that this presentation would be sort of answering, or maybe the question I'm posing to us at the end of the day is, how prepared are we to thrive, in an AI economy like we have it now? And without trying to make the presentation so cliche, as we have with a lot of AI presentations or discussions or conversation that we've had lately, it will be slightly different. I won't be focusing so much on AI in and of itself, but how can we harness it when it comes to building resilience in the workforce? So now, every industrial revolution has changed the way work has happened, right? From, the industrial revolutions when they were still steam powered machines, even before some of us were born, right? So it has changed everything. So you'd find that from manual work, there was the introduction of technology, gradually over time up to what we have currently. And you see how work has changed over time. So would be probably lying or behaving like the ostrich that hides its head under the sand if we say, oh, maybe AI or technology as we have it now will not transform the way work is. So from manufacturing to our hospitals, classrooms, everywhere, we see how the world of work is changing, right? So there's been so many innovations from technology to computers, and everything has evolved. AI now is here and changing how we work. So these are, I believe some of us, these are just some very popular industries that I believe majority of us on the call, would fall under. And if you look closely, you would see that it is changing. Now, 86% of employers, according to the World Economic Forum, expect that AI and information processing technologies will transform the way their businesses work. So this conversation is not just about us as individuals harnessing it. Even businesses are looking to see how technology, how AI, is going to transform their business. And that's why at the beginning, I mentioned it is now a competitiveness issue. So, but the major difference here with what we have in our world currently, and I think we're fortunate to be, in a time or in such a time as this where, we're having to work, learn, be the ones working, learning with AI. Now, the major difference, unlike previous technological advancement, is that AI is evolving at an unprecedented speed or at an unprecedented pace. So everyone has to adapt quickly, So adaptation is very important if we actually have to become competitive so we don't risk falling behind. Now, I still have some more data just to emphasize the conversation. There's the common notion that each time you're having conversations around AI, people tend to say, oh, AI will take away our jobs, AI will take away our jobs. That is not entirely incorrect, but what evidence mostly tells us is that, one, jobs are changing, the task, the roles are changing, and even the skills required to do those jobs are equally changing. So this, for me, should be where our conversations should be, focusing on, rather than coming from a place of fear where we keep saying, AI is taking away our job. The challenge is not that work will disappear. Work is not going to disappear as we know it. Disappear is whether the workers possess the skills for this new advancement and whether our businesses are ready, to be positioned to take advantage of all of this advancement to move further. Now, still from WEF, because I know at the conversation we had sometime last year, even from the Vice President's office, the World Economic Forum had also done some study, even here in Nigeria. And one major study, which I would talk briefly about in a subsequent slide, is how Nigeria at this point has much of the resources that, we need to take us into the next level of technological advancement. However, while we have the resources, the people, the talent, the young persons, we are limited in some certain areas like digital infrastructure and the rest. But we're not going to let that deter us, because now, as you can see, the new jobs that are anticipated to be created are around 170 million. Now, however, there'll be about 92 million jobs that would also be displaced, but there's a net gain of 78 million, right? So this means that there's still chances, there's opportunities, and that's where we need to be focusing. So I think while this conversation, we're having this conversation today, we should be self-assessing as individuals and as businesses, making projections or just analyzing what will become of our business or our roles in the next couple of years. So even the ILO, that's the International Labour Organization, confirms that there will be more of transformation, not entire replacement of jobs, right? So this will mostly be the most likely outcome for 1 in 4 jobs. So like I said at the beginning of this slide, yes, some jobs may become extinct, but not as much as the roles or the task, that we find in most jobs. So moving on, so there's the real challenge now, like I mentioned earlier, is the skill, right? So employers are clear about certain things. It's not necessarily a technological issue. We've experienced technology over the years. What we experience now is the talent readiness. Now, there are organizations that are ready to invest in people, but there are some organizations that are probably not there yet. But studies show that those who invest in people, those who invest in their own businesses, because investing in people also means investing in your business, aside, building the infrastructure and all. But those who, pivot in this manner will be more likely to outpace those who simply are just adapting or, changing tools. So what I mean is, in terms of ensuring that we are building a more resilient workforce, it has to be side by side. It has to be pari passu. As much as you're, developing, advancing in the tools, the people aspect of your business also has to be advancing. So employers are increasingly valuing adaptability, digital literacy, critical thinking, AI literacy, creativity, emotional intelligence. So as businesses change, right? So it's going to change. As much as experience matters, the know-how of how to use certain tools also becomes very important. So the questions we should be asking are things around, can this person learn, right? Which is why learning and development is very important. So can this person learn? Can these people adapt, right? Because like I said, we are in an era where technology is advancing pretty fast. So can they adapt? Can they solve problems? And can they collaborate? So these are some of the questions we should be actively, trying to answer. So these findings underscore that workforce development and not automation alone will define competitive advantage. So let's not forget the conversation. We're trying to build career resilience, right? So you can't talk, you're can't talk about one in isolation, whether as individuals or as a business. So both have to work hand in hand. So as we plan to upskill, businesses need to invest in upskilling and reskilling. When you're also recruiting, you need to actively seek out the because most people, when we talk about fear as of that, but AI is much larger and bigger than that, right? So even after, even deeper and even get to know some of these things. So moving on. Oops, seems my laptop is not plugged in. Okay, so now let's talk about career resilience. Please give me a minute. I just need to plug in my laptop. All right, thank you. And sorry for that interruption. I wasn't plugged in. Okay, so then what should we, since the foundation for AI has been laid in a certain way, what then should we consider as career resilience? So as we have put it here, it's the ability to remain relevant, employable, and valuable despite technological, economic, and workplace changes. Now, we have a saying that we all believe in, that change is the constant thing, right? So AI is just a phase now. We don't know what it will be in future, right? We don't know what the next form of technological advancement is going to be. But for now, if your career resilience, if maybe there was a quotient, to measure it, will be how well you're able to remain relevant as a professional, how well you're able to become employable, and how well you remain valuable despite the changes that we would come across. So career resilience, we can actually or rightly say, has replaced job security. Because if you're all of these, as we'll have this conversation today, then you will not have that fear of, oh, AI has come to take away our jobs, right? So the most successful professionals will be those that not necessarily know everything, right? But they are those people who are constantly learning, constantly adapting, constantly looking for the way out, knowing what is changing and learning to adapt. So for some of which I have outlined here. So in terms of continuous learning, so we know that continuous learning is an ongoing process. You acquire knowledge, you upskill, you reskill. Even the knowledge as we know it now, is changing. What we call information today might change in a couple of years or maybe in a couple of months. So it's very important that we keep learning, unlearning, and relearning, right? So the learning is no longer an occasional activity. It's something you should consider as a career strategy, and these businesses should also take into cognizance. Then we have adaptability and growth mindset. I think I've spoken about that. Your ability to adjust successfully to new situations, new challenges, and just having a growth mindset, not being stuck, not being that kind of person to say, oh, this is how we've done it, or this is how we used to do it, right? Being adaptable and being open to learning. This way you don't see any kind of change, as a threat. I know that oftentimes businesses have challenges managing change within the organizations. So it goes a long way to show about the mindset of the individuals in the business. Then, of course, digital confidence, very important. Computers came in a long time ago, but your digital confidence is not only about using devices or using technology, it's also your willingness to learn, right? Your willingness to use tools and not just being afraid of it, right? Because of time, I probably won't be able to give much examples, but there's a certain place I know that just for no reason, just for fear, they chose not to embrace certain digital tools that would rather make their work easier. So I don't know whether it was the fear of using the tools or maybe the fear of making it seem like they may no longer be acting busy, So these are some of the things as an individual we have to deal with, and even as businesses. Then, of course, we professional networks, that's the relationships, your connection, you know, that you build. Many of you have mentors, we will have professional community. So none of these things will go extinct. Rather, you will need this, especially because we are in a rapidly changing situation, or should I say world. Our professional networks are very important to keep us grounded, to share knowledge, and just build technical expertise basically. Then emotional resilience, very important. It's the last here, but it is not the least. Your ability to remain positive, your ability to be focused, productive, even in times of uncertainty, in times of change, managing change. You'll be tried basically, but these are some of the things that build you when it comes to career resilience basically. So it's not about resisting change, like I said, it's thriving through it. Now, going back to what I said about AI, what are the things we excel at as humans that AI can do? Now, AI is very smart. I'm not undermining AI. Artificial intelligence, especially when you even start from the basics by using generative AI, you find that these things are very smart. It's just like a human being combining the knowledge of everyone. Even if you combine only the knowledge of everyone, let's say in Lagos for now, you will be super smart. Then not to talk of a technology combining knowledge, resources, from across the world. It has to be super smart, right? And that's why it's a machine. But as much as it excels in data analysis, those things that we can't do quickly, repetitive tasks, which are some of the things that it will replace. If your job is quite repetitive, then you may need to start thinking about how can I harness AI to do my job better, right? AI also excels at content generation, process automation, very important, and pattern recognition. These are some of the things. It's not limited to this, but as individuals, what are our irreplaceable human skills? I remember Ms. Vivian mentioned that much earlier in her opening remark. There are certain irreplaceable human skills that machines cannot excel at. One she mentioned was curiosity. Others here we have leadership and judgment, ethics, decision making. Even if you use AI to give you a plethora of options, you still have to make the best decision. Now, it may give you permutations, and all of that. It may give you projections, but at the end of it all, those decisions belong to you to make. Creativity and innovation, we are still the ones building these machines anyways. Empathy, relationship building, no machine can do that for you, at least not now. Negotiation, influence, and many more. So AI is not necessarily replacing people. It won't replace people. Rather, it will replace people who know how to harness it, right? And those who refuse to learn. So if we're talking about career resilience, especially now in an era of AI, then you need to nobody is asking you to be an expert in using it, but the questions you need to ask are, how does this affect my role? How does this affect me in a couple of years' time? And also looking at all the other projections, the research that, I have quoted have made, especially by 2030. A lot of things are going to happen by 2030, God keeping us, would see. So the future belongs to every one of us who is able to combine our inherent human characteristics, with the benefits of AI to amplify a lot of things that we do. So there shouldn't be any cause for alarm. It's just how we use it. Now, I may spend some time here, and please, if I'm going out of time, please just send me a message. So just to narrow it down, what are 5 actions that we need to do in terms of building career resilience? Maybe after now, someone might just decide to go on a study to, maybe come up with a quotient for building career resilience. Who knows? But anyways, some things we need to ask ourselves regularly would be, what new skills have I acquired? Now, there's a conversation going on about the Olodo uprising, and I'm actually happy with that. with some of the perspective that some really brilliant minds are bringing to the conversation. And if you're a business owner here, if you're a recruiter here, then you would understand how difficult, it is to get talent, to get work done. And that's because necessary skills to get work done are lacking. We have the people. Universities are churning out people every year. However, do we have the skills? Do these people have the skills? So as an individual, if you want to differentiate yourself from the crowd, if you are building yourself in terms of your career resilience, what new skill have you acquired this year? Before the year runs out, you should ask yourself, or even at the end of the year, we're already into the 7th month already. So what new skills did you learn that is relevant to your role, and not necessarily only to your role, but especially when it comes to digital literacy, when it comes to technology use, what have you learned? When it comes to certain soft skills, what have you learned? How have you been able to improve your digital doing jobs that we don't even know, that some of the roles that make us feel important would probably be handled by a computer in a couple of years. So if you know that your role or your job is at risk, how are you trying to, should I say mitigate? Not sure if that's the right word, but how are you trying to prepare yourself, ahead of that? Those are some of the things when it comes to career resilience with. So learning continuously, committing yourself to lifelong learning is very important. Becoming AI enabled, I've said that already. AI has gone past just using generative AI as a business. How else can AI help you in automation, right? So it is much more about the fluency and not about the mastery, because not everyone can master everything, except if that's your specialization. If you're not building AI agents or building or into machine learning, you may not be able to master AI, but how are you able to use it fluently on the job or as a business? Now, the other is around skills, investing in your communication. How do you build empathy? Just going back to some of those things that we said that AI cannot do for you, right? It's very important. So while you see the way you find two different people who use, even going back to generative AI, who even use generative AI is different. Somebody who has thought through the process, developed an outline or a framework, and then using the AI to enhance that is very different than somebody who just tells the AI, oh, do this for me. The output will be very different, even though you're using the same medium, right? So these are some of the things I've mentioned: professional networks, and of course, we cannot overemphasize being adaptable. Other things are around maybe agility, how you respond quickly and effectively, while still remaining focused. There's a lot more, but just not to crowd the slide, but I believe you get the gist of it. So even with lifelong learning, this is something that, has been gaining conversation even more lately. That's just how your willingness and ability to keep learning, it's very important, because your skills, your experiences, has to be very broad and diverse, basically, just so that you're able to perform better. Now, so we've spoken about us as individuals, people doing the work. How about organizations? Our employers also have responsibilities. Businesses also have responsibilities. Technology alone will not just transform your organization like that, right? We have to do, there are certain things you need to do proactively, some of which would include investment in your people, which is why we have upskilling and reskilling there. So people remain one of the highest return in investment that any business can make. So while, the recruiters are trying to get you the right talent, while they are still on the job, upskilling and reskilling is very important. So how equipped are your employees, for new and enhanced way of doing things? Very important. The next is digital transformation, right? So I think I've spoken about that, but for businesses now, maybe bringing it into business context, because we're an employer's business organization, is very important for us that businesses thrive, right? So when it comes to digital transformation, this should be something that is very integral as part of your strategy, right? How do you integrate digital technologies into different aspects of your organization? Now, most people think, oh, you have to do everything at once. No, look at the first step is assessing your business operations and looking at those areas that are very important to, or those areas that need digital transformation in more immediate terms, right? While you get to do others as time goes on. So it goes beyond just simply adopting a new software. You need to probably rethink the way you're doing your job, the way you're carrying out your business, the way your operations are, So there's that. Then ethical adoption of AI is very important. Now, we currently, especially in Nigeria, we currently don't have any regulation that regulates the way we use AI. In our organizations today, virtually everyone is using one form of AI or the other. So there needs to be the conversation around ethical use is very important. We can already see the way AI can be used negatively. We see all of that online. So ethical AI adoption for business is important. How do you use it responsibly? If you may actually, I wanted to say if it needs, but you should actually at about now, be able to have, even if it's something small, a policy around AI use and the ethical use of it. Now, in ways that are transparent, in ways that are secure, sharing your data as well, in ways that are responsible, accountable, respectful, for the kind of work that you're churning out. Even your industry may matter. Some industries, are more, what's the word now? Some industries are basically more regulated than others. So you need to put that into consideration. How do you protect personal data of, maybe your clients, your customers, and even your employees? How do you ensure human oversight into the work, into the input, so that everything is not just AI based, because like we know it, generative AI hallucinates sometimes. So how are you checkmating all of that? So these are very important conversations that business owners, executives need to start having. So as good as it is in building resilient organization, ethical adoption is very important. Then we have leadership development. So being deliberate about preparing your current and future leaders with the requisite skills, with the requisite knowledge, and even behaviors to get the work done, because business, even the way we do business, may just change in a couple of years' time. So how are you anticipating changes in the future and ensuring that you have the right pipeline of people to do that? So you're developing things around strategic thinking, decision making, communications, change management, and all of that. Then when we talk about employee well-being, we're talking about creating an environment, right, that supports your employees, both physically, mentally, digitally, right, financially, and all of that, for them to be able to perform at their best. Because one thing we've noticed with all of this advancement in technology within businesses is that it requires more from the workforce. So you're exerting yourself even more. So what kind of support are you providing to ensure that your people are, working better? Then, of course, innovative culture. Here, it's just about organization, creating an environment, that encourages creativity, encourages innovation, where your organization is such that new ideas are welcomed. There's something the DG will always say: if you have suggestions, if you have recommendations, please bring it forward. What's the worst that will happen? You just keep it in view for maybe a time, where it becomes absolutely necessary, but that your organization is such that you don't encourage creativity. Mistakes are frowned on. Of course, there are certain mistakes that should not be condoned, but I think the point I'm just trying to make is just ensure that you have an organization that is able to learn from failures, so that you avoid the more costly failures, right? Where you're encouraging new solutions, new idea, critical thinking, even investment in research, right? So not just embracing all-round continuous improvement. That's what that particular point is talking about. I see a chat. Okay, just moving on. All right. Now, it would, if as an employers association, we don't bring the Nigeria's context, I don't think it would be complete. This conversation will be complete. And also because we have a mixed audience, right? So as Nigerians, we possess extraordinary potential to lead Africa's digital economy. All the statistics are there, right? Based on our population, our young people, the talents we currently have, and even the projection to say, oh, if we do this by certain time. So we have all of that. We have potential, basically, when they talk about somebody having potential. So Nigeria has the potential. So basically, we shouldn't see AI as a threat. We should rather see it as an opportunity that, who knows, if we all play our roles, right? As professionals, as business, and even as government, people who are government, if we all play our roles well, this AI transformation might just be the point where we leapfrog into proper development, because Nigeria has been a developing country for so long, right? So who knows? This might just be it. So we have our youthful population, like I have said, we have a growing digital economy and the fintech ecosystem. We have our entrepreneurial spirit. We have increasing technology adoption. Most people are very adept at using technology, at least the young people, right? But the thing is, we require deliberate investment in skills. It's very important. And that's why, as business owners, you cannot overemphasize this. As professionals, as individuals, this cannot be overstated. Deliberate investment in skills is very important. Deliberate investment, in partnerships, public-private partnerships, academia and business, government and academia, all those partnerships are very important if we want to, build resilient economies, whether in career, whether in business, harnessing and adopting AI as we have it now. These are very important. So what do we need to do? Some of the things we need to do is education reform, stronger TVET, that's the technical vocational education training. This is very important because employers mostly, except those maybe in manufacturing, oil and gas and the rest, that usually are very heavy on technical skills. You find that not many employers actually pay attention to this. So this should change. I've spoken about partnerships, employer-led skills development, very important. And that's why we as an employers organization, our role extends beyond just advocacy, right? We help businesses prepare for the future because of the conversations we have globally. So NECA represents employers on global fora at the ILO, IOE, and many other platforms. The DG is also a member of the ILO governing body, and I dare say the only Nigerian there at the ILO governing body. So these are those global conversations that we get to have those knowledge of and then bring back just so that businesses are prepared for the future. So basically our role has evolved, and for us it's very important that we champion productivity, we champion competitiveness, just so that businesses are doing what they ought to do, the workforce transformation, and at the end is benefiting not just the businesses, is benefiting employees and then also benefiting national development. All of this still ties to national development at the end of the day. And it is on that note that I would just quickly talk about this. So for anyone who just wants a knowledge, so there's two partnerships, or rather, we have this partnership with Microsoft and the IOE, that's the International Organization of Employers, where for them it's trying to equip people with AI skills, right? With AI knowledge, AI. So now there's this AI fluency program. It's absolutely free. Nothing is being paid. Once you get the slide, you get all of this. So at your spare time, it's something you can do in a day or two. You get to understand how, AI, how it even starts, how we can use it ethically, how we can use it responsibly, and even use cases, right? And then there's the other one for SMEs. I don't know how many SMEs we have on the call. That might be very important for you. There's also one for SMEs, so or you can just get through that link when you get the slide. Now, in wrapping up, technology changes quickly, right? But it is the people who are able to steer it properly that would get more most of the benefit. So AI transform work. It does not eliminate human value. I want to believe I've been able to establish that fact, right? Career resilience is now the new job security. Now, rather than complaining or having the fear of not having jobs, rather than leaving school and wondering if you would get a job, because I tell you there are jobs by virtue of our role as as NECA, we can tell you for free that there are jobs, but there are just very few people who are skilled enough to do these jobs. Now, this is not to say that our degrees and all of that are not important, very important, but it goes beyond just having a university degree, right? So continuous learning is non-negotiable. Continuous learning, non-negotiable. So do not do not stop learning, basically. Employers and employees share responsibility for workforce readiness. We can't talk about career resilience without putting the employers and the employees together. So it's a collabo. Right. So Nigeria equally has an opportunity to lead Africa's digital economy, and that is if we are able to rise up to the occasion, right? I know this is a much more longer conversation. Maybe Kimberly Ryan can have it, can think of having a more in-depth conversation about this at another time. But the point here is leading career resilience is not just about you holding on to a job, right? In our parents' day, it was about getting a job, doing that job, and maybe retiring on that job. But for us right now, as professionals in this dispensation, it's very different. It's not just keeping or holding on to the job. It's about building capabilities. It's about knowing when things are changing, just putting your head down and just understanding that there are going to be changes, but how well are you harnessing the opportunities? And I think the other one is that AI will continue to evolve. If you recall, even the generative AIs that we use have gone through different phases. They've had like different, what do they call it now? Edition is not the word, but I want to believe you understand. Like they've gone through phases of improvement, basically, right? So even that is still transitioning, that is also changing. So how are we changing with it, right? So it will continue to evolve, but our greatest assets will remain our human capacity. So look for utilize AI to get the work done, utilize AI to overhaul those things that can be automated, but build capacity on those things that that AI cannot do, so that we are able to still remain relevant. Remember what the definition, what we spoke about when we spoke about career resilience. So I believe this is it in a nutshell. So thank you very much for listening. I will hand over now to the team. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Isabella. That was an insightful presentation. You've highlighted a lot of things in your presentations. You highlighted not only the realities of today's workplace, but you also spoke more about the opportunities available to both professionals and organizations willing to adapt. And I have to say thank you to NECA. I mean, the job is amazing for bringing this conversation forward and also providing the opportunities for us, organizations and both individuals. I'm sure our audience has taken away valuable lessons. We're going to take questions, but you can just, this is to our audience. You can please send your questions to the chat box. We're going to have a panel session soon, and you can say that. Thank you once again, Isabella. Thank you. This was a wonderful. I do have my takeaways, and I'm going to
Thank you.
send out my questions.
Thank you.
So, all right, so we are now moving into our panel discussion, where we'll hear diverse perspectives from experienced HR leaders who are actually navigating these changes within their organizations. And moderating today's discussion is Mr. Adewale Fasina. He is the head of outsourcing and learning and development at Kimberly Ryan. And joining him are Arinola David. She's the Chief Human Resources Officer at ML Corporation Solutions, and Mr. Patrick Umo Adiasong. He is the Group Head, Human Resource, Romulus Group. Gentlemen and ladies, thank you for joining us. Adewale, please over
All
to
right.
you.
Thank you very much, Imaya, and thank you so much, Isabella. That was really, really cool. Thank you for the insightful session. It's been amazing. I mean, listening to it, and also thank you for the link that you shared with us. That's for that to also participate in that AI readiness session, which I myself, as you dropped it, I scanned the link and I tried to check it out. So I myself, I must take this. And thank you very much once again to NECA, the DG. We know he would have loved to be here. So thank you. Help us extend our thanks to him. And yeah, I am with I will say my ogas, right? The very, very experienced professionals. When we were having our session yesterday with them, the pre webinar session. I mean, when they were they are talking about the experience, I was like, whoa, here we are. People are here. This is why people come here so that they can learn from them. And here with me, we have Patrick. Patrick is it is a very vast, and you will get that by the time we start talking, start speaking, and start asking him questions and the likes, right? And so I think to kickstart this session, I would with AI in the workplace, and then how it has gone ahead to shape my perspective about AI. And I recall that it was a particular day in the office. I was with some of my colleagues who are in the particular department, and then we used to. They were less busy, so out of curiosity, I asked the question. I said, that was about 2 years ago. Thereabout. I said, what's happening? Are you not sending the first? I said, how? Say that there's this thing now that they call ChatGPT. At that time it was ChatGPT that sent it. I said, okay, can you explain to me? He said that, but you should not tell their line manager because their line manager must not know that. Now, if he knows, he will end up saying that they didn't do anything for the day. I say, okay, can you please show me what this thing looks like? And then on and on and on. And I'm sure that we all have experienced this at the beginning, but thank God that even the managers, even the senior people have also embraced this because we have no choice, right? Everybody must embrace this reality. So I'll just go ahead to read the profile of my panelists. I'll start with Ariola David. So Ariola David is an experienced and award-winning HR leader who translates business vision into people's strategy. And she has successfully led HR teams across multiple industries and is a trusted advisor to business executives. As the Chief Human Resource Officer at ML Corporate Solutions, she's actively leading people and organizational initiative, including adoption of artificial intelligence and digital tools to improve decision making and overall business effectiveness. And our career has spanned across talent management, organizational development, culture, transformation, and change management. And then I'm sure that we'll have a very, very wonderful time with her, because she has volunteered for several organizations as well, like Society for Human Resource Management Forum, the National Mirror Committee on HR Standards, the CIPM, and Tony Elumelu Foundation for Entrepreneurs. So if you don't mind, I would like to just use your digital hand to clap for Ariola as she joins us here. Then secondly, I have Patrick, who is the group head, human resource, Romulus group. So Patrick is a Pan-African HR executive, digital HR strategist with over 15 years of experience driving workforce transformation across financial services, energy, technology, and public sector. And with expertise at the intersection of human resources and digital intelligence, Patrick specializes in business intelligence, AI for productivity, and workforce transformation. And he's also a regular speaker on radio, which he told us that he's moving to television very soon. He has podcasts and so many other platforms where he reach out to professionals to just make sure that they become better themselves and they match with what is happening globally. And then before we have Isabella, we've all heard Isabella. I mean, I don't need to say much about her. So please, I think we'll just go right into it. I'm sure that you are ready. So please, in the course of the conversation, if you have questions, just drop them in the chat box. I will be picking them up along the line, but we'll still have a proper session where we will be taking questions from as many people as possible. Okay, so I think to start with, let me say ladies first. No, because we have two ladies, one man. Let me start with the man. I think I would like to start with Patrick. So, Patrick, I know that you are a mentor to so many young professionals, right? And through your platforms and all. So, I would just like you to think. Let's assume that you roll back time and you go back maybe 15 years ago, several years ago, and you are just about to start your career now in this AI. I mean, if I say AI based workplace now, what would be your mindset? I would like to start from there. You have rolled back time. You are just starting your career maybe 20 years ago, and then AI is catching everywhere. What will you be thinking of?
So I would say the number one thing I would do, and that's something that's helped me over the years, is remain forever curious. All right. Many people, when is it Justin Trudeau? He said the pace of change has never been slow, has never been this fast, and it will never be this slow again. What that means is change will be the only constant um, factor in our lives. And in this world of work, the pace of change is going to be faster than ever, right? Degrees are becoming obsolete the moment you get them, right? So if you are not forever curious, you'll be left behind. If you're not learning, unlearning, and relearning, the museum door will be opened faster than you realize, and you find out that you are one of the artifacts that people are coming to see. Like, okay, this was that professional that was useful 2 days ago, and 2 days later, this guy, we need to pay money to come take a look at you. All right. This I love what Isabella spoke about. We're no more trading in jobs or positions. We're trading it in skills. All right. It has become a skill economy. All right. You are only as useful as the skills you bring to the table. Jobs are no longer roles or positions. Jobs are just a makeup of tasks, and they are competing. Those tasks are now being shared between you and AI. So as human beings, Isabella, I mean, she spoke about the things that AI would never be able to do, the things that we would forever be useful as human beings. So number one skill I would give myself as an advice would be, look, remain curious. Don't run from change. Don't run from technology. In fact, when people are scared of AI, run towards it. All right. Like she said, AI is not coming to take our jobs, but the person who understands how to use AI is the person that will come to take your job. So ignorance should be your worst enemy. So fight ignorance, fight it. You know, she mentioned the Olodo uprising. So yeah, reject it, reject being an Olodo, if I may borrow that, you know. So yes, you're not going to be an Olodo. So the number one advice, fight being an Olodo. And only thing you can use to fight it is to be enlightened. So keep learning, keep unlearning, keep relearning, you know, and that's the only insurance your career can survive on. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Patrick. So Ariola, I don't know if you would like to ask something about that as well.
I mean, right. Can you hear me? Let me just check that.
Yes, yes, I can. Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Okay, before I speak, let me just say it's great to be amongst like-minded people on the panel. I would also like to, recognize my team members, some from my current place of work and prior place of work who may have joined today's session, and, also recognize everybody who's trying to learn today. So, I'm going to just leverage what Patrick has said, and let me start really by saying that from an HR perspective, I don't believe that AI, and all of this talk today, I don't even believe it's a technology conversation. It's a business and people conversation. And let me just really say that organizations that win, are only those who are going to be ahead. It's about organizations, it's about people, it's about nations, it's about businesses. So any organization that will prioritize AI will, will stay ahead. Now, having said that, and leveraging what Patrick said, it's about learning. It's not really about, it's not about how many tools you've got, because someone can list out the various AI tools. It's not about how much technology, but it is about the learning, having that learning mindset. So as an organization, we must be learning, whatever our organizations are, we must continue to learn and make that a job in itself, learning. And we must also grow people within and encourage people to learn. Certainly we'll get into those details, and all of the talk about will AI replace some skills. I don't want to encourage people by saying it won't. It will definitely replace some roles, but that's what to do to make sure that we're not replaced. So we need to get ahead. All right.
All right, thank you very much, Aniola, for that. Thank you so much. Isabella, would you like to say something about this particular question as well?
Okay, I'll just keep it short because I know they've both said they've spoken about it excellently well. So same thing, it's not about it's more about being ahead, basically. I think that's the right word I'm looking for. So it's more about being ahead. It's more about being proactive. The time has passed where, things just happen to you by chance or anything. Right now is about you being more proactive, because the change we have now is faster than we know it, just like Mr. Patrick has said. So I think those are even part of the conversations we're having now. So I look forward to even hearing more. Yeah, thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Isabella. So, Ariola, sorry, I'll come back to you, right? Being someone been doing this for, decades now, over 20 years, right? Being in the workplace. And that means you must have seen different technology transformation from when people used to submit CV with their hand to now that they send via email, to when people have to travel all the way to Kaduna for interviews, to now that they can join online. To when WhatsApp was not official, to now when every organization have WhatsApp groups and all. So what is different about this particular technology? What makes it different from the other ones that we've seen regarding the workplace?
Right. Okay. AI is very dynamic, and there are definitely things to watch out for. What is very different about it is, we've always talked about the age of machine learning, robotics, and all of that coming on us. And it's been a talk all this while. But now we're in it. We're actually living in it now. And people have got to move at a fast pace, because every day people are teaching AI. You and I, every time we prompt AI, we're teaching AI. So AI is really learning. I can't begin to tell you the various things I'm seeing these days across the globe, of what people are using AI for and technology for. So for me, the main thing is about how fast it is moving and how quickly people need to jump on it. So now people should stop being afraid, or, just holding on. Right now, people should start checking out what they can use AI to do better. And everyone should maybe once a quarter, at least hone in on a particular AI tool and learn it, for that quarter, for that month, for that period. In my organization, and as you've said, yes, I have been quite involved in in my organization, we're very particular. I work with ML Corporate Solutions. We're very particular about AI, right? And we are even pushing staff to use AI. We've done videos encouraging them to do that. We've even had sessions where there was competition and we paid people. We rewarded people for leveraging AI in their work. So for me, it's about the pace at which it is moving and how quickly people need to jump on it. Now, no one should say, "Oh, AI will impact that area, but will not impact my area." Whether you're a designer, or you are a musician, right, or you're an HR person or a finance person, there's a whole lot that you can do with leveraging AI. And AI is going to take away, data entry roles, monotonous roles, repetitive tasks. All of that AI is going to, change. Is going to change it because AI can do those things, and therefore there needs to be a shift. I know we've heard the talk, we've seen it in documentation and all, but today let's talk about how practical it is and let people move and start making that move now, that change now, being practical about it and learning it because it's moving really fast. I'll pause now and maybe as we continue to speak, I'll go into further details of ways we've actually used AI in my workplace and how I believe people can do this, do the same.
All right, thank you very much, Ariella, for that response. Patrick, I will come back to you now. I've heard this saying over and over again that AI is a leveler, right? Because whatever you prompt, it has the knowledge, it has the analytic skills and all. So whether you are a very smart kid or you are just someone that's not so smart, so to say, AI is a leveler, right? So how can people take advantage of this, right? So maybe you are working in an international organization where you used to have all the tools, Microsoft tools and the likes, or you're working in a local firm in Nigeria where you don't have access to those tools, but now you have access to AI. So how can we, how people are here listening, I think they want to know, how can I be like someone that works in McKinsey, that has all the templates and all, though I'm working in a local firm in Nigeria here. So I would like to just speak on that.
Okay, so look, let me say this. I'm trying to think of what it is you are doing that AI, like you said, is not a leveler. I'll give some practical examples, right? Um, so I'll start from somewhere high up there. So my last medical doctor's visit, right? I just went for a routine checkup and I ran tests, okay? And I kid you not. So doctor was asking me questions and questions, and I think something fell from my doctor's table and she was bending over to pick it up. And I was able to glance at my doctor's screen. I kid you not, my doctor was on ChatGPT, right? My doctor was putting in, and I was like, Doc, are you kidding me? Are you on ChatGPT? And the doctor said, no, 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 that, they have a special subscription, that this is not the general GPT. This is the GPT specifically for medical professionals. Because I was like, why didn't I just put my results on ChatGPT and let ChatGPT do this for me? And the doctor said, no, this is special. Um, I was in an AI masterclass some months ago. It was hosted by an Indian firm. And doctors' lives matters too. Okay, interesting comment in the chat. I was in an AI masterclass. Look, when you talk of AI, we are barely scratching the surface. We are barely scratching the surface. It was hosted by some Indians, and my goodness, if you see what these guys are doing with ChatGPT, I was blown away. We're still scratching the surface of generative AI. The world has moved past generative AI. We're in the world of agentic AI, right? These guys, so there was several facilitators. One of the facilitators is, he's a major AI influencer, global influencer. He posts on a daily basis, videos, write-ups, everything. And he opened up some of his trade secrets in that masterclass session. Do you know that 90% of the posts he does, content, written content, video content, are all agents, AI agents created? Right down to how he trained AI. Ariella mentioned that we're training AI, right? So all those your company documents that you're uploading on ChatGPT to help you review and thank you. Keep training AI with your company documents for all those that are doing that, right? He trained his AI agent to be able to write articles, generate content in his own writing style, his own diction, his own. So when AI generates his content, you cannot tell the difference between what the content he traditionally writes, and what AI does. AI generates the content, AI posts on LinkedIn, Instagram, TikTok, all on his behalf on a daily basis. All he does is give AI the topic, AI generates the content, does the video content. He sets up agents to make and receive calls for him live in the session. He trained AI, he just repeated certain words, and AI was able to mimic his voice word for word, the way we call it locally, verbatim, right? AI mimicked his word, his diction, his tonality verbatim, right? He set up an AI agent to receive calls, to make calls, to respond to emails, all on his behalf. So, and then let's look at career. Since I talk career a lot, I had the opportunity to participate in some global recruitment exercises. Are we aware AI now conducts interviews? We started with AI being able to receive and sort CVs, right? Now you have AI interviewers. AI would, you ever have an AI interview, make sure your internet connection is 5G and above, because you don't want to have an AI interview with bad internet, right? So you have AI, they sit down, they watch your facial expressions, they ask questions, they do all of that. And when AI started, we said, oh, ethical AI, you can you can choose not to be part of any automated decision making. Guess what? AI is now making decisions. Sorry to say. They promised us that there wouldn't be any automated decision making. But the AI, you're now having AI interviewers interviewing you. You go through maybe 1 or 2 levels of AI interviews before you get to meet the human face. So, I mean, technology, you have AI even in vehicles now. You hit a certain speed, there's an obstacle, AI in the vehicle will automatically calculate your speed and the obstacle in front of you and will help you hit the brakes. So the world is moving at an astronomical pace. All right. At this point, even if you are selling akara under a tree somewhere, you need AI. That's the truth. So when you say whether you don't need to be working in a McKinsey for you to, I need AI, no matter what it is, right? So yes, I am also of the school of thought that, yeah, AI is not replacing human beings, but where exponential productivity will happen is where you have a successful partnership between human beings and AI. That is where we would see tremendous results. Please don't put AI in the driver's seat and take the back seat, because I see a lot of professionals, they can't think anymore, right? They're beginning to switch off our own cognitive thinking and becoming over reliant on AI. AI is a tool, and we should treat it as nothing more than the tool that it is. Thank you.
All right. Yeah, thank you very much, Patrick, for that. And I think we are getting into it now. We see the react. Thank you very much for the reactions in the chat box. Please, some people have already dropped their questions. Please, let's keep dropping the questions. I'll soon get to this part where I will start reading out the questions for our esteemed panelists. One other thing that's come to say, I read something about maybe 3 weeks ago, and they mentioned that AI is now like a team member. That shocked me that okay, that we have to think of AI as our team member, not as like Patrick said, the AI should not be in the front seat. AI should be part of your team. So he's doing his own work, automation, you are doing your own work. Like it's not like an external consultant that you are reaching out to. It's actually part of your team. And that's really opened my mind to, oh, that means there's a lot out there. So I'd like to go back to Aniola because of some things that she said earlier. So in your organization now, maybe practically now, can you just give us maybe just a little about some of the things that you mentioned that you've been encouraging your staff to adopt AI in their operations? Just a little bit of some of the things that you've seen change since you implemented this. Yeah.
Okay, sure. Yeah. I mean, thanks. Even if you didn't ask, I was about going into more details now. So, and I'll start with something Patrick mentioned, Patrick said that you should use AI, but don't let AI take over your thinking. And I totally agree. I've tried different approaches. I tried an approach whereby, and I'll come to your question, Wale. I tried an approach where I said, let me recruit intelligent people, youngsters, and let my work be faster. So I had someone who used to work for me, and when I give him a task, it could take 2 weeks to get done. And then I recruited a youngster who joined my team, and when I gave her the same task, it could take her like 2 hours. I kid you not, like 2 hours, 6 hours to do what was taking the other person quite a long time. So I was very excited. And, until today, that individual is very valuable to me. But I'll tell you one thing I found, that was missing and is honest. The experience was missing, and we will get to that point, as we talk. The critical thinking, and not letting AI take over your thinking and all. The critical thinking, the human management, the change management, of skills. And those things, you cannot get them from AI. You can only get them from experience, and all of the emotional intelligence. So that has its place and is very important. And in fact, by the time we start talking about how can I be valuable in today's world, is one, you've got to leverage AI. But two, beyond AI, there are some skills you need to develop. Those skills like emotional intelligence, those skills like critical thinking, and knowing a lot about your business and being business savvy such that you can contribute and solving problems. Those are the people that will succeed in today's workplace and will succeed in whatever it is, whether it's business, whether it's volunteer work, those are the people that will succeed. Now, talking about how we practically use AI, we use various tools. And in fact, we've gone through a journey. So we started off with using ChatGPT, and we said, everybody go and use ChatGPT, In fact, my colleagues, if they are in here or team members, everybody will start laughing now because of what we've been through, right? So we said to everyone, go and learn how to use ChatGPT. And ChatGPT is valuable. And I tell you, if you really go, if you still do your search now and you look for what tools, should you use, ChatGPT comes tops, right? And we still use it for idea generation, we still use it for all of that. But then we also found out about a tool called Manatal, right? Manos, I beg your pardon, Manos, right? And we started using Manos because some of our data, by the time we put it into Manos, MANUS, it produces presentation slides, your finance, because insights is what your boss wants, right? So by the time you dump your data in there, it gives you the relevant insights. And people in our design team, our marketing team, they were also using Manos. And then we also got on Claude, right? And if you check out what AI tools are out there, Claude is one of the ones on the top list. And we found Claude so amazing, right? So right now, I've been using more of Claude, and then ChatGPT also like an assistant to my Claude. So they are my team members. Claude is my team member. ChatGPT is they're actually my team members, right? And in my organization, various things that we've used it for, I'll tell you. So we monitor team members, and I said we did this competition where we paid people. We paid people. We had like 5 top winners. We had quite a number of people presenting. We paid everybody 100,000 naira each for of the top presenters, right? As a tip to and we would pay even more than that when we find people who are really utilizing it. In fact, I had someone who said to me, "You're talking Claude, Claude, Claude. I don't know what's inside that Claude, CALUDE." And by the time he got into it and used it for his work, he found it was amazing. So we're using it to check our inventory levels. We've used it to automate CRM. I'm even using it in my hiring process. Pat, you talked about recruitment and how you will get to AI interviews and all. Okay, those are some of the work I'm currently doing. Like, look, I'm not going to disturb myself or go and face all the AI before you come and face me. So anyone who comes, who comes into our organization is actually going through some rigor in their, in the recruitment process. Okay, but at the end of the day, it also helps us know that we have people who can face today's world of work, right? So we're using it in our hiring right now. And so we check who has AI skills when we're hiring. And we don't just ask these questions, we literally test and ask you to show us what you've done with AI and even show us right there. We're using it to check for cash flow, visibility. These are some of the things team members presented. Insights on expenses. So we've said to, for example, people in our accounts team, maybe someone in accounts payable, rather than just receiving requests, for expenses, why don't you put all of those expense requests you've received? Why don't you chuck it into Claude, chuck it into the AI so that it can give you some insights on the sort of expenses that are coming in so that you can be able to even analyze better and look at where we can get savings. So what that has done to us is to force people to begin to stretch in their roles and stop seeing myself as this is just my beat, this is just what I've got to do, but to start leveraging AI to do those things, those monotonous tasks, and then also use AI to be able to solve problems. And by that, okay, I saw a comment in the chat. I just read the questions quickly. And there was a joke right in this chat room here about someone who said, "Help me, oh, I'm working, I've used AI to finish my work, and my boss is asking me what else am I doing." But the truth is, what your boss wants, and it's good that you use AI to do your work. So thumbs up for that. Well done. But when you're done with your work, every employer, because they're spending money, they want to know what next are you doing. So what you've got to now do is to find ways of solving more problems. Of course, be mindful of your work life, be mindful of your work life balance. So still talking about some of the tools. For example, the people in our design team, they use they use InVideo, right? InVideo is a powerful tool. But it has AI APIs built into it. So of course it comes with some spending, right? But she was able to do some videos, adverts that we don't even need to go use agencies, to come up with those videos, right? So I mean, these are some of the AIs that we've used. Of course, there's a whole lot more out there. Now, some of them are also free. So if you use, for anyone who wants to, and I know we have different sets of people in-house, people who are already using these things and want to use them more, plus people who are just getting started. But major thing is get started. So some are free. Of course, ChatGPT has its free version. It also has the paid version, and Claude has its free and paid, and a lot of them will give you some credits. Like the number of things you can do a day, and then you've got to get on the paid version. Now, if you've got the money to pay, the paid versions of all these tools always do much more, because the unpaid one will tell you, after you ask one or two things, they'll tell you traffic is slow, they'll tell you and all of that, because the people who are paying are using up the whatever. But if you don't have the money, it's fine. Get on the free one, leverage it until. But it's good to invest. Find the money you're looking for. It's money you will use to get it. So use money, pay for it, get some paid versions, of these tools, for your work. There's a whole lot more. Let me see. We may have skipped my mind now, but as we talk, then I'll contribute. Thanks.
All right, thank you very much, Anyola. I know someone has a question earlier that can they get practical tools? And I think from what Anyola said, that she has mentioned quite a number of tools that can be used, and then the reality of what results you can get from these tools. And I hope that we're all taking notes of that. I know she mentioned something about cash flow, about the interviews, right? I'm someone that I don't like interviews, right? It pinches me when I have to sit in for interviews. So what you are saying that this is, benefits people like me that don't like sitting in interviews, right? Then insights and the likes. So thank you very much for that insightful response. So Isabella, I'll come to you. Right, there was in 2023, I came across a video of Sam Altman, that's the CEO of ChatGPT. He was speaking to an audience, I think in one of the Arabian nations, where they were asking questions about, oh, AI will take over the job of the people. Should we support AI? Should we invest in AI? And he made a statement. He said, when computer first started, people that used to use calculators, right, to calculate, they had problem. They said, oh, their jobs will be taken away. That this thing called Excel we just come and be calculating everything within a few seconds. But here we are now. People are built to solve bigger problems, right? Because when there's technology, there are bigger problems to solve. So from where you sit in NECA, I would like you to share, maybe are there some of the skills? I know you touched a bit on it during your keynote speech, a bit on some of the skills that you know or that you have seen trend that these ones might not survive this wave, right? And in case there are people on the call here who are working in this profession that might need to start rethinking. Maybe not going to be more specific about some of the roles that you have seen, maybe in some of your engagements or engagement with organizations and the likes. Isabella.
All right, thank you. So if I get the question clearly, you're asking about maybe roles that are probably going extinct or things like that.
If what call it like that, I practically call it they are going to the museum. So
Yes, those to the museums are opening. Well, to be fair, in Nigeria, right, it's not that wave has not swept us as much as it has done in the West just yet, right? But you find that what most organizations are doing now is trying to look at their processes, trying to look at their jobs, and trying to see, okay, which roles are probably not going to be should I say valid in a couple of years' time. So unlike, how we have in the West, where a lot of people have lost jobs and all of that, but majority of the jobs anyway, just to answer the question specifically, that you find, if we're saying starting from here in Nigeria, that would become obsolete in a matter of years, just like we've mentioned, any task that has repetition, a lot of repetition. For instance, we don't have typewriters anymore, right? Remember those typists? You find that even in our roles, there are certain tasks. Remember, I said in the earlier presentation, some roles definitely will go away, but in some roles, it might be the task, what you do on a day-to-day. So you find that, for instance, things around computing data analysis, even that in and of itself, if you're someone who is a data analyst now, you also need to be rethinking your role and seeing how well you can use Excel. Even internally, in my own organization, I was having the conversation with my colleague, and we're like, even things around using Excel, Claude can compute, it can do, data analysis for you and give you a downloadable Excel template or even in HTML, right? All you just need to do is feed it the data. But What's the idea is not to spread fear, it's just for you to understand how it affects your job. Now, let me still use this data analysis as a practical example. It doesn't take away the fact that your knowledge and skill of using Excel or knowing how to code is wrong, because even if the AI does it, because you have that practical knowledge, you're able to check if there are mistakes, right? You're able to check if it hallucinates. So the idea is, if your role or your job currently has too much of repeated work, you need to rethink it. At the top of my head, I may not be able to name. I know there are things around bookkeeping, even things around front desk. How many front desk do you need again? When these days people can, if you have a certain kind of machine, people can sign in. So rather than having three people at the front desk, you probably just have one person manning it. So, things like that. What other role is there? Yeah, I spoke about secretaries, because even now AI takes minutes, takes your minutes and your notes for you, So at the top of my head, I may not be able to name all of them, but what we usually say, or what we have seen AI replace mostly, are those jobs or those tasks that are often too repetitive, So for you to be ahead of that, just if you assess your role, and that's where HR also comes in with, job redesigning and all of those things, just to assess some of those roles so that their people are up to par. So even for us now at NECA, I recall we underwent a training by the ILO on how to use an AI tool, for even our advocacy work, because I tell you, that work is, it's a lot. When our work is a lot of brain work. Oftentimes I don't know how to describe it to people. You have to be in it to understand. But for instance, we had a training on how to use an AI powered tool called Regulant. So the tool is supposed to help you speed things around regulatory analysis, around developing, your practical points for lobbying and advocacy, maybe doing things around stakeholder mapping and analysis, and maybe just giving you ideas or strategies for advocacy. So you can imagine that even all those things where we spend weeks, trying to write, trying to do brainstorming and the rest, once you have relevant information, you can just feed it in and it comes out with advocacy outputs for you. So, but at the back of it, you still need to have the context, the knowledge, so that whatever output you're giving, it is relevant and, it stays within. I hope that answers. Thank you.
Oh, yes. Thank you very much, Isabella, for throwing more light on that. And so, Patrick, I'll go to you. So, please, if you have questions, can you please drop it in the chat box? I've seen some already. So, after this question, I would start taking the questions in the chat box. So, please make sure to drop your question there. So, Patrick, you are a career coach. You've been doing this for a long time. And then a lot of young people, I'm sure, in your community would have been asking this same question, right? Should I continue this career path? I don't know what is happening. I've been reading so many things, right? So I would like you to answer the same question, but I want to add another layer to it so you can, address both together. I came across something where they said AI as a mentor, right? These young people now, they can have their AI tool and they ask it anything that they want, right? So when it comes to mentorship, can AI, replace our mentor and become our mentor? Because I go to AI, what should I do about this? My job, my boss is shouting at me. Should I slap him? you know. So that and the other question about the job roles that might become irrelevant based on this AI. Yeah, please go ahead.
I'm going to take a risk of being a little bit controversial, right? Permits me to shake the table a bit. The year 2026 has been the year of the rise of what you call solopreneurs, not just $1 million solopreneurs, right? Globally, you now have, I wouldn't call it a one-man business, right? But the most successful one-man businesses have risen, $1 million one-man businesses all over the world because of the what's it called? There's the need for human employees has actually reduced. Now, it's a double-edged sword in the sense that the traditional career paths are dead and buried. All right. I'm trying not to go to this, not a career coaching session, but I'd say this. The traditional 9 to 5 that existed prior to now is dead. So in the old days, you had a job for life, you had your career ladder, but now you have a lifetime of jobs, not just jobs, gigs, and what you call it. As HR professionals now, we need to face the reality that some of the people we are employing, this job is the side gig. It's not even the main gig. Some of these people have a main gig and the job you are offering them is just by the side. So, no this and no peace, right? The world of work, the world has changed. So the old career path that was meant for the industrial era cannot fit into this digital and AI era that we're at. Okay. Now, what does that mean? People say, oh, AI, again, I'm going to shake the table just a little, right? They lied to us about AI. They said AI is only going to automate low level, repetitive jobs. But guess what? You now have AI doctors, you have AI lawyers, and like Ariola pointed, you now have AI HR professionals that are doing the tasks of what we do as HR professionals 9 to 5. Okay. But I love something that Ariella said. There's one thing AI does not yet have. Yet, being the operational world, because you can't make empirical statements anymore, right? AI is yet to develop the depth of experience that some of us have. All right. So if I were to put myself in between a medical professional, if I have a medical issue, right, and I have to choose between going to an AI doctor and maybe a specialist that's been practicing medicine for over 20 years, who would I choose? Of course, I would go to someone who has that depth of experience as against AI. If I have a legal matter, to choose between an AI lawyer or a son who has represented matters up to the Supreme Court of Nigeria, I would still choose the son. But it doesn't mean that in 5 years' time, AI is not going to give the AI lawyer will not give even a son a run for his money. It doesn't mean that in the next 5 years' time, an AI HR professional, AI will not give Ariola, with her 20 years of HR experience, a run for her money. All right. AI is still a new kid on the block, but AI is learning and learning fast. And we are the ones training AI, by the way, so we should continue. But this is my position, right? Oh, yes. Oh, yeah, you're correct. AI has been flying planes, has been piloting ships as well, for decades. We're just catching up. But this is my own position, right? And I stand to be corrected. I am strongly convinced that AI is a tool and will forever remain a tool. There will always be a need for human beings. There are many things. In Isabella's presentation, she mentioned things that AI can do or AI is better suited for, and there are things that human beings can do. Yes, even in digital marketing, you have AI that can, but there are some deals that you cannot close online. You need to see your face. You need to see that human face to it. And then to address your question, mentorship. So if I need someone to mentor me on a technical skill, right, I'm happy to approach AI. But if I have, Isabella mentioned things like emotional intelligence, things like, soft skill related. I have a problem with my boss and, you need advice. Oh, you have a heartbreak and you're going to meet AI as a marriage counselor. AI has never been married. Okay. I doubt if AI can give you marriage advice. Okay, you've been served breakfast and it's AI you are consulting. I'm confused as to how those are things that are innately human. Maybe in the next decade or so, AI may get to that point, but AI still lacks emotional intelligence. AI could give you options. You make the decision and you lie in the bed as you lay in, I mean, you lie in the bed as you laid it, right? But when you need counsel for, let me say, matters of the heart, AI lacks a heart. Okay. There are some experiences that you cannot mentor somebody on if you've never been through. All right. You lose a loved one, for example. If you've never, even as a human being, if you've never lost a loved one, it's difficult to counsel or mentor someone who is dealing with that kind of loss. So if they are running to I think they would be grossly um, dissatisfied. Okay. And there are even ethical, what's it called? Ethical controls now put into all AI chatbots, when it comes to counseling and all. So there are certain things, certain questions you cannot even ask AI. AI will tell you that they are, you try it. There are some questions now you ask AI will tell you it's not suited to answer. All right. So when it comes to mentorship, life mentorship, let me put it that way. A human being is the only person who has experienced life. Okay, so you cannot turn to a machine that has never experienced life to give you life, any kind of life mentorship. But when it comes to technical mentorship, oh yes, I'll put my bets on AI in that regards. But when you talk of life mentorship, it's a risk to run to AI for life mentorship. Thank you. I know Irene is a counselor as well. She may have something to say on
Oh,
that.
okay. Oh, yeah. Thank you very much, Patrick. So, Aniola, I mean, I just have to refer to you now to also share your thoughts on that.
On things I don't want us to forget, or I don't want to forget to share, before this wraps up. And very much appreciate Isabella, Patrick's contribution till now, and Adewale also well done. Um, I just want to explain so that people can. I don't want to speak over people's heads. I want people to be able to understand what we're talking about. And I've seen from some of the questions coming in, how can I leverage AI, in my work? And yes, talking about can I use AI to counsel me? I think Patrick has answered that largely the right way. And people need to understand what he's saying. For technical things, day-to-day technical things, he can ask AI. For things, matters of the heart, the things that come through human skills. You really don't want to rely on AI for some of those things. For example, someone in the Western world told AI it's lonely and wants to commit suicide, and AI told the guy to go ahead and commit suicide and even told him how to do it. So that shows you that you cannot rely on AI for those sort of things, right? But yes, people are still training AI daily. Let me just quickly help some people to understand how they can use AI. Okay, what you should do, go into and I also saw the comment from someone talking about AI agents, taking over, and that's the way to go. Yes. So, if you are using Claude, for example, right? There's Claude Chat and there's Claude Co-work. If you use the mobile version of Claude, you're gonna have the chat. If you use the desktop version, you download Claude onto your desktop, finish up the process, you will have both the chat and the co-work option. The co-work option makes sure that your chats and everything is linked to the files on your computer. And rather than even feeding data into Claude, you can just through the co-work, it has a way, it will pull up the data itself, work on it, and give to you live and all of that. And now there's also ways you can connect. So if I use my recruitment as an example, right? And I've looked at recruitment tools. I've looked at Manator. I've looked at some other tools that I can use for to interview people, because I found out that I was spending so much time interviewing people during work hours and when I get back home. And I said, look, I'm looking for an AI tool that can do this interviewing for me before it gets to me. But then I remembered the human element. Like, if I am so, and that's how we've got to use AI, right? If I'm recruiting for a graduate trainee role, or new entries into the market, and it's a whole lot of people, yeah, I can let AI to do the shortlisting. Then the people who are coming tops can also go for the AI enabled interview, where they go in there and it's AI that is interviewing them. And prompts have been fed into the AI such that how they answer questions, then the AI would also know what to say next. Of course, it doesn't come without its errors, right? So those sort of roles I can put in there. If I'm recruiting for a CFO role, I'm recruiting for a head of a division role, I'm recruiting for some sensitive roles, I wouldn't want to put them through that, because the gentleman or the talent that I'm looking for is going to say, oh, she doesn't even have my time, or they don't even have my time, and therefore they've pushed me to AI. So those are the sort of things, there's that balance. Isabella talked about as hallucination. I want to help people understand what that means. So I have put candidate profiles into AI, maybe my Claude, maybe whatever AI, and I've said to it, tell me, I put the job description and then I put the CVs. And I said, tell me who's coming tops. Tell me who fits this CV, this JD, this job description the most, because I can't go through the tons of CV that my team have sent to me. But you see, you've got to prompt the AI properly, because the AI hallucinates, meaning it's thinking by itself outside of what you've asked it. So I've got to prompt it, and I've got to say, make sure you keep specifically within the job description. And I've got to make sure the job description itself is tight. And then I'll say, give me the top 4 people who fit this role. And then the AI returns to me the people who fit that role. And then I can literally, if it returns to me 4 people, then I will still look through those 4 people myself to be sure that there's no mistake. But definitely, I'm not going to look through 1,000 CVs or 100 CVs. I mean, that's on recruitment. Now, that same way, you as an individual, you can go into this AI, right? But start with telling, because I saw people talking about their roles, right? Start with telling the AI what you do. Just start with that. You're an admin officer, you're a recruitment officer, you're a designer. Open the AI and say, I'm new here. Can you this is what I do? Give it a brief of what you do and tell me, from today I want you to teach me how I can deliver more value in my role. And it's going to return back to you things that you can do better, because the AI is ideally to help you become more productive. Also, to give you a very quick example, for example, I have someone in facility here, working with artisans, and then it got a long list of prices of things and how much it was. When you tell, well, I told him, I said, get me some quotes, some quotations, and then the artisans wrote the quotations on paper, and he also, I said, can I have it? Can I have it in an hour's time or in 2 hours time? And then it goes, oh, I will send it to you the next day or 2 days after. Then I knew in my mind it's because he wants to go and collate everything and write and then type and send across to me. Whereas you don't need to type, just screenshot everything, put it into the AI and say, give this to me in Excel format, and it's going to return the same data. I know some of us on the panel know what I'm talking about, but I'm just explaining to people amongst us who don't know how to go about this thing. Just screenshot it and tell the AI, give it to me in Excel format. Another thing, let's say the same person wants to, you have maybe a restroom or the office space, and it's not looking the way you want it to be, but you want to redesign it. So I just told the gentleman, please go meet, because I'm not sure you have any AI, downloaded on your phone, but can you go and meet a colleague to show you what to do? And then the colleague, he took a snapshot of the room that he wanted to redesign, maybe somewhere, not looking okay, and took it to his colleague, and they gave it to AI. Can you help me redesign this same space? And then the AI returns to you. So let's say you are an interior decor now, you can show the AI a picture of what you want to redesign, and then the AI will give you back options of how you can design it. It will make the whole place look different. I mean, rather than you wondering what to do. Okay, have I missed the question? But I hope I've, because I'm sort of trying to hurry through what I'm saying. But now again, talking about hallucination, I dropped CVs. And no, I asked my AI for candidates, and I said, "Look, I've been searching for this particular skill. I can't find it. I need to add on. Can you check for me where to find these individuals?" Of course, the AI will tell you something like, "I don't have the authority. I can't check LinkedIn for you." And all. Then I said, "Okay, go to websites. Just give me the people who fit this role." Now the AI returned to me about 10 individuals and told me these are you're looking for this talent in Nigeria, these are the people. Now, five of those people were what I was looking for. Five of them were fake human beings. I said, "Why did you return to me human beings that don't exist?" And he said, "Oh, I'm sorry, I made a mistake. I came up with these names myself." So be careful. And that's where the hallucination comes in, because one of the big fours one time did some fancy reports. The youngsters there did some reports, and then, it turned out that some of the content in there were actually hallucinations. So just know where the balance is. Leverage AI. Don't let AI take over you, but use it, leverage it, as an individual and as an organization. I hope I've been able to explain, practically how we can use it.
Th- Thank you very much, Anyola. And that's why Patrick said that you are a coach and a counselor. Thank you so much. And I also noticed that you actually answered a lot of the questions that we have in the chat box. So no need for me to read them. You've actually picked them out. I think one that I would like to just ask, I'll ask both Isabella and Patrick. It's about someone talking about generational difference in the workplace. That how do you marry that, right? And it's real, right? Those that are used to, you have to come in the morning, you sit down in front of your laptop or your desktop till 5 o'clock. then and then the generation that they know how to do things, So how do you marry that in the workplace? Maybe we can try to see it from both sides, from the older generation and from the younger generation. How do we create that balance? So Isabella, would you like to go first?
Yeah, sure. So I think this is also the one generation where we've had like three or four different, generations working at the same time in the workplace. So yes, it's that dynamics will always be there. But when it comes to utilizing AI, you find that I may also sound, maybe it might be a bit controversial. We tend to say, oh, the young people are good at using AI or technology more than the older people. But I dare say that I found young people who don't know jack about using certain things, right? So it's a matter of learning. It's a matter of wanting to know. But yes, just because it's in, this disruption in technology, came at a time like this. So of course, more young people would be able to master it. But no, let's not say master it, knowing how to use it. But knowing how to use it is very different. Like we've all established, people can use it in different ways, but not every, you see how it was just explained how to use it practically. Most people just think you just throw things in there and you use it and that's it. So for getting both generation to use it now, those who know how to use it well, now regardless if you're the younger or the older generation, you show the other how to do it. Now, even when we talk about mentoring and the rest, we talk about reverse mentoring. Same goes for AI as well. Now, if you're a lot of things, especially when it comes to workforce transformation, first starts with assessing your workforce. Now, who are the people that can use this and use it effectively? Who are those that don't know how to use it or are struggling to use it? Then create a system such that those who know how to use it are teaching those who don't know how to use it. That's why you can't take learning out of that equation. No matter what you want to do, learning is very pivotal. So those who can use it, whether you are the older or younger, but in this instance, oftentimes the younger people know how to use it more than the older, right? So you get them to work on projects, collaborative projects together where they show the others how to use it. Now, if you are also in an organization that is not too hierarchical, you find that even the older ones are very open to learning. They are even the ones that will call you, oh, come and show me, how do we use this? If you also put it as a matter of rule, or let's say principle, to get this done, use this kind of tool, you find that if I say, okay, for certain tasks, it shouldn't be, you shouldn't turn it in at a certain time because so tool can help you do it faster. you are now encouraging people who don't know how to use it to learn how to use it. So you pair them with people who know how to use it so they can learn faster. Tools generally, you get better at it when you use it continuously. So I think basically what I'm trying to say is those who know how to use it, put them in situations, projects, or collaborative instances where they show those who don't know how to use it to use it. Okay, I think the other I will just leave for maybe when we take final comments. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. So, Patrick, I think you just answered this in just maybe 30 seconds if possible, because we actually got into the end, wrapping up this session.
So I am opportune to work in a diverse business environment where we have subsidiaries in different industries. And I'll just give a practical example, right? So I have one subsidiary, it's oil and gas, solid mineral mining, right? I have another subsidiary, media and entertainment. Okay. So I see these generational differences at work. Obviously, the media and entertainment subsidiary, primarily, we have Gen Zs. In fact, 90% of the workforce are Gen Zs, 10% are millennials. Okay. The oil and gas and mineral mining, 10% of the workforce are actually, maybe 20, 25 are millennial. I'm sorry, Gen Zs. The rest are millennials and above. Okay. These are two different animals. I'll kid you not. Okay. Different in so many ways. So, for example, the Gen Zs in the media and entertainment, I've accepted that to many of them, this job is their side gig. I'm paying them a 9 to 5 salary, but when you say no this and no peace, even if I don't even bother going to look, if I see them even mention this employment on their LinkedIn, I will give testimony. I will be grateful. It's even featuring on their LinkedIn profile. These Gen Zs, they have 2, 3 jobs. I kid you not. I know one of them who does the job here, has another job that she does at night. One day I had to sit her down and say, come, come, come. I've heard of burning the candle from both ends, but you're burning the candle from both ends and the middle at the same time. Take it easy or you will burn out. She comes to the office and she's literally dozing off because she's doing 3 jobs. And see, as HR professionals, all those moonlighting clauses we have in our employee handbook, just forget about it. You sack everybody if you want to enforce those moonlighting clauses, because they will come right in the interview. They are telling you that they have another job, they are not leaving. Employ me or take it or leave it, right? Their mentality is completely different. For the older generations, the millennials, Gen X, and boomers, they just want job security, and all of that. The millennials don't care about your job security. I'm telling you, they seek for security elsewhere by doing multiple things. Okay. Good luck trying to get these Gen Zs to come in, without offering them hybrid, or they don't even want hybrid. Is the middle ground, though. That's the ones that are nice. I have employees that, I kid you not, till today, apart from the video call that I had during the interview, till today, they have not stepped foot in the company. It's been years, they are still on my payroll, right? They work 100% fully remote. Even their interview was remote, right? I've never seen their face. Good luck trying to get them in. Okay. The dressing. Oh gosh. I'm just pointing out all the differences, though, right? One of them came into an interview. He had his face cap on, and I was like, "Oh, sorry, could you take off? This is a meeting. Could you take off your face cap?" When he took off his face cap, I said, "No, no, you know what? Just put it back on. Just, because I don't want to describe the hairdo. It was a mixture of dreadlocks with a skin cut, and it was different colors, right? So I just said, you know what? Just put the hat back on. Came into the interview with his palm slippers, 3/4 shorts, for the Ari, he came in short knicker for an interview with palm slippers, with the funky hair. But guess what? He got the job. So I'm just saying that, you see, with the Gen Z, you can't permit me to borrow from the good book. You can't pour old wine, right, into new wine skins, or is it, which way is it? The new wine into old wine skins, exactly. One way or the other. I'm just saying that you need a different mindset, okay, to deal with them. It's not the same thing. And the final part, so they have their advantages, they have their strengths. One of the weaknesses of the Gen Zs, I would point it out, and it plays out a lot in their work. They lack the grace and the stability. Okay, I won't say scream at them, but you correct them strongly, and they break down. They break down. When I say break down, right? I was having a conversation with somebody. He said his son, right, tendered his resignation because somebody addressed him one type of way in an email. Not even physically, an email. He didn't like the tone the person addressed him in the email, and the young man tendered his resignation letter. Luckily, the MD of the company knows him, and the MD just said, "Oh, by the way, I just said I should let you know that your son tendered his resignation because a colleague, addressed him one type of way in an email." And they had to call the son, in a conference call, and he said, "You know what? Is it because you don't have any bills to pay? You think you can just walk out of a job?" Any little thing, they are complaining of my mental health, my mental health. So they, I would say they're a little bit fragile, emotionally and mentally. Compared to other generations, some of us drank dirty tap water. We walked, we played football barefoot. All these things will toughen you up one way or another. We have a lot. Our skin is a lot thicker than theirs, right? I'm not saying that we tolerate toxicity, or I'm not in any way supporting any form of toxicity, but I'm just saying that, look, there are many things that they cannot tolerate. I hope there's a lot. It's a big question when you talk about this.
Yeah.
I can analyze these generational differences at length, but I'll put a pause there. But all I'm just saying is you need to be able to wear multiple hats to manage these different generations. Thank you.
All right, Oga Party, you are just shaking the table and shaking the table, right? When I get to the office now, they'll come and meet me that who is that person that's talking against us? But it's very clear and it's real. What you shared is real. And then I think we are about to wrap up now. And so I'd just like to just take the final word from my wonderful, wonderful, wonderful panelists who have been, I'm sure, even from the chat box, I could see how people are really engaged. So maybe let me lay this first. So Ariola, would you like to just share your final words?
Right. Okay. Say that the future belongs to professionals, and individuals who combine artificial intelligence with authentic human intelligence. I want to say that, don't just sit with AI, go after those skills. Leverage AI, but go after those important human skills. Like I said, know as much as possible about the business that you're into, right? Understand relationships, build relationships, because AI will never build the relationships for you. Ensure you have emotional intelligence, right? Ensure you are also solving problems, because customers and businesses are looking for people who would solve problems. That is what you should own. That is what you should focus on. Leverage AI to do that, but don't keep your focus on AI. Are you there, Wale? Are they Wale? All right, yeah. I think, yeah, in order to manage time, I think we can have our last thoughts. Yeah,
All right. So
yeah.
let me go. So our gentleman will go last. All right. So I think I would just recap just some of the things that came to my mind when with all the conversation. One thing I would just like to highlight is that, AIs are being fed by our data, right? So it's all the data we feed it that makes it super intelligent, just like the analogy I gave much earlier. So yes, maybe in a couple of years' time, things around maybe mentoring, advice, and all of those things, it will still stem from data. AI can never have the human intelligence. It can never have that human interface, right? Some of even there are certain experiences, certain nuances on the job that, only you experiencing it can be able to tell or replicate it in other individuals. AI can never do that. So AI is a tool. Always see AI as a tool. And that's why when you want to adopt AI into your organization, you need to first of all assess what point of our business do we want to embed AI, and what human touch point will AI not be doing, right? So even across interviews, like we've mentioned, at what phase in the interview must there be human intervention, or how is a human being checkmating what the AI is doing? So these are conversations we need to be having, just so that we're using AI responsibly and ethically. And then the other part is about fact checking. We already said that, so please always fact check to be sure that you're not putting out the wrong information and then bringing, bad reputation to yourselves or to your organization. And then the final part, this just came to my mind around the conversation for generational workers. Just so you know, at the last ILO conference, there's a new convention on the platform economy, because we have young people who are not now doing the traditional form of work. So there's now a convention that covers platform workers, or gig workers like we. So I think all HR people on this call should please go familiarize themselves with that convention. While it's not a core convention yet, we don't know if Nigeria will be ratifying, but just so that you're abreast of issues, please check it out. Thank you very much. AI is not replacing us, it's just a tool. So use it properly, and please stay ahead. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, Isabella. And then Patrick, your parting words.
I mean, there's not much to say further. Without me, repeating all of what I've said, but I'll just re-echo common thoughts. Isabella also mentioned that the future belongs to those who would remain curious, who are going to commit to a lifelong learning, who will make a lifelong learning commitment. And just like Isabella said, be rest assured, AI is not taking over, well, not taking over all the jobs. It will take over some. It will take over some parts of our jobs, but AI will always remain a tool. Okay, so the future belongs to those who master the tools, and the museum will belong to those who choose not to master the tools. I think those are my parting words. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Can we just use the digital hand to just show a love and appreciation to this wonderful panel? Thank you so much, Ariola. Thank you so much, Isabella. Thank you so much, Patrick. Thank you for the engaging session. And thank you to all of you as well. And I think I must make a particular mention of IAU. I don't know the full name of that person, but he or she has been very active in the chat box all through the session. And he made mention of the fact that he got his job about 18 years ago through Kimberly Ryan, which is quite interesting to note. So thank you very much, everyone. And I think this brings us to the end of this panel session. So I'll be handing over back to my colleague, Chimwaya, to just wrap up the whole program. So thank you very much, wonderful panelists. Thank you so, so much. All right, Chimwaya, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. Wow. This has been a very educational, insightful session. Thank you, Adewale. Thank you very much. And thank you to our panelists for such practical and insightful contributions. I really resonated with what Arinola spoke about when she was talking about AI and hallucination. I find that very true, because there's so many times that I had to tussle with ChatGPT when it gives me some response. I have to ask it, what are you telling me? What is this? What are you saying? So it's very important to, not as much as we're leveraging AI, let's also try to build it, prompt it. Like Isabella said, it's important. There is a difference between someone that is prompting it and someone that is just generating all their ideas from AI. And I really appreciate these valuable perspectives on leadership, adaptability, workforce transformation and what professionals can do to remain relevant. So we'll now open the floor for some questions from our audience. We're going to take a few questions. So I'm going to be picking some questions from the chat box for our panelists to answer, please. So let's look at some questions. Okay, I'm checking. Okay. So anyway, in the absence of questions, I would like to say, okay, in the absence of questions. Okay, so as we conclude today's virtual HR roundtable, I'd like to thank our keynote speaker, our moderator, and our distinguished panelists, and every participant who joined us today. Today's discussion has been so insightful. It reminded us that while AI and automation are changing the workplace, resilience is built through continuous learning, adaptability, and a willingness to embrace change. It's very important. And also, it also tells us that the future belongs to those who remain curious, agile, and committed to grow. And we hope that today's conversation has provided practical insights that you can apply in your careers and organizations. Thank you so much for investing your time with Kimberly Ryan. So to those that joined a bit later, I want to remind us of Kimberly Ryan, our services, and about us, please. So just to reiterate that we are focused on delivering results that matter. We offer a comprehensive bouquet of services that support clients in delivering their business goals and achieving optimal people performance. And we are a leading human capital. We have been in business for 28 years, and our solutions include outsourcing, learning and development, recruitment and talent selection, and also HR advisory. These are our service lines. You can contact us via email, info@kimberly-ryan.net. You can send an email to that email address, and you can also send to chinyere.onukogu@kimberly-ryan.net. This is our phone number. Please also follow us on social media. Our social media handles will be provided in the comment section. That's the chat box. We look forward to hearing from you and to get your messages or requests. So thank you once again for investing your time with us. It's been a wonderful session, and we look forward to welcoming you again at our future events. So without further ado, I want you all to have a wonderful day, stay safe, and keep building a future-ready career. Thank you so much, everyone.
Bye, everyone. Thank you.